And this is episode 29 of the Lifestyle Entrepreneur Podcast. And my next guest is Andrew McCauley, who's going to talk about how to autopilot your business. Welcome to the Lifestyle Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Kris Gilbertson, and I'm an author, speaker, and a coach to teaching you how to launch your own successful podcast. And the reason I designed this show is to bring you the top lifestyle entrepreneur experts from all over the world for them to share their key strategies that they've used to launch their own businesses and allow them to live life on their own terms. So tune in every Friday for new episodes and come on over and join the Lifestyle Entrepreneur community at www.lifestyleacademy.com. There you're going to receive VIP training from specific guests from the podcast, along with being able to watch all of the interviews. And I'll also be making it really easy for you to implement these strategies that you're hearing by sending you what I like to call the Lifestyle Cliff Notes on the best lessons learned on the podcast. So let's get started. All right, so before we get started with the show, I just want to thank everyone who is subscribing and leaving awesome reviews in iTunes. I'm so excited that people are enjoying these interviews. And I'm excited to announce First Fridays. So what I'm going to be doing the first Friday of every month, we're going to have a raffle for those of you that have subscribed to the podcast and then also left a review. And it'll be a raffle for $25 gift cards from iTunes, Amazon, eBay, all over the place. So all you simply need to do is just subscribe to the podcast in iTunes and then leave us a review, and your name will go in a hat, and we'll announce that the first Friday of every month. And this shout out goes out to H. Mora, and they say, incredibly valuable. I love the incredible value I get from these podcasts. Amazing experts, plus Kris offers her experience in these interviews, which adds even more value. I can't wait to hear more. Well, awesome. Thanks for tuning in and listening. I can't wait for today's interview. As always, great content for you to take away, to implement immediately into your business, to turn it into a lifestyle business. So let's get started. Well, welcome. I am so excited for my guest today. His name's Andrew McCauley, and he's the co-founder of Autopilot. I can't talk today. Autopilot Your Business, which is a full-service digital marketing agency. He also runs a very successful coaching program with over 20 full-time coaches and over 500 clients that are being coached on internet marketing and running an online business. And he's also the creator of the Online Footprint iTunes magazine. And you can also check him out at the Autopilot Your Business podcast in iTunes. And he's just a blast to connect with. So we're going to really go over today about how to actually create a platform for your books as a speaker, as an author, and as a coach, and how to really create that as an effective online business. So welcome, Andrew. How are you doing today?
Hey, Kris. Thank you. I am awesome, and I'm excited to be on here, this call with you, because I know we always have a fun time chatting, and just to be able to share common interests and the knowledge that we've got. I love sharing it with people and helping them, because so many people are out there thinking, hey, this stuff is so confusing. How do I get out and do this? How do I get myself known? How do I become an expert in my industry? And what sort of things do I need to know? And there are so many pitfalls that I'm excited to be sharing them with people, and how to get away from those pitfalls as well.
Yep, absolutely. I'm so excited. So Andrew, let's get started with how you broke into your field and became the expert.
Sure. You know, I was in pubs for 17 years. So in Australia, we run pubs, and pubs are like Starbucks. There's one on every corner. So I was involved with pubs for 17 years, and I really got excited about marketing aspect of pubs. You know, I loved getting bums on seats. It was a challenge, but it was an instant notification of whether your marketing was working or not. If you've got a room full of staff standing around and no customers, you knew your marketing sucked. So I was really into marketing and that sort of thing. When I got out of hotels, I'd had enough of, locking up at 4 a.m. in the morning and that sort of thing. But I started my own consulting business, and one of the first things that one of my first customers said, hey, what's this new Facebook thing? This is back in 2006. He said, I hear somebody's using it for business. How do you do that? And I'm like, well, I don't know. What's Facebook, So I went and checked it out, and I fell in love with what was going on, and it was very, social. My whole pub life, I was very social sort of thing. So I thought, hey, this is online stuff that's social. That's pretty cool. And I learned how to use marketing for Facebook, and then, Twitter came along and YouTube and all that sort of stuff. And it just developed from there. So what I was lucky enough to do was travel the world and start teaching people how to use this sort of stuff for their business. And, it's evolved, and it evolves every day. It seems like something new's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I got involved, and that's how I started. And just through learning that, applying it to people that were my clients, so that I knew how effective it was, and then being able to teach people around the world, it's just become a snowball from there. And then I started up my own digital media agency, which is Autopilot Your Business, and we'll talk a little bit about some of those things, I'm sure, coming up.
Yep. Well, and I love how you talk about the roadblocks to success and what happens, because there are so many things out there to be doing, and so I'd love for you to talk about what you overcame yourself in figuring that out.
Yeah, it's a question or a comment that we see all the time is, where do I start?
Exactly.
And I was one of those people, and I'm sure a lot of listeners are, that want to figure it out for themselves. Oh yeah, I don't need anyone to teach me. I'll do it. And of course, that's the cheap way of doing it. Cheap as far as money, but cheap not cheap as far as time.
Right.
And it probably took me, a good side of a couple of years just to work out how to put some of this stuff together and which bit goes first and what does this mean. And there was so many conflicting stories out there, and there's so many. The other thing is so many silver bullets. So many. Hey, this is an opportunity you can't miss, and I'd go and jump at that, and then I'd go and look at this one, and I think, well, how do those two work together? And at the end of the day,
I wasn't the only one. Whew.
Confused and overwhelmed with the whole shiny penny syndrome.
Yeah.
And then in the end, I found myself doing it yesterday. Someone sent something through, and I looked at it, and as soon as the site opened up, I'm like, no, this is shiny penny. Stop even looking at that sort of stuff. So I look at it now from more of a marketing point of view of what they're doing, rather than the tools. But so many people get caught up with all these extra tools, and you've got to have it. And stick to one tool, make it work, and then move on to the next one. But as far as roadblocks go, find someone who's doing it already. Don't just find someone who's claiming to do it. Make sure they're actually doing it, and then follow what they're doing. And often it shouldn't be that confusing. If they make it confusing, then it is too hard. Go and find someone else who can do it.
I love that, because I mean, it's the easiest thing to make something overcomplicated. But when you keep it simple, that's how you're going to stay successful with it and keep it consistent. So let's talk about how you work with speakers, authors, and coaches, and helping them build their platform. Like, what are the foundational pieces to start moving forward?
Sure, yeah. So we've been working with speakers, coaches, authors for a long time, and one of the things that often they come to us for is like, hey, we know what we need to teach on stage. We know how to talk. We know how to present. We know what we need to do when we're doing that sort of stuff. But that requires me physically being in a room on stage in front of people. I don't want to be doing that, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No, nobody can.
Right.
So how do I get the information I'm sharing with my people and my audience to be on sale 24 hours a day? And that's where we come in and say, well, let's have a look at the product. Can that product that you're talking about actually be delivered digitally first? Because if it was let's say there's a couple of speakers out there who do a lot of experiential games, and those experiential games you need an audience to make it work.
Right.
Because you can't run some of these games can be run by themselves, but you can't run a group dynamics game with nobody in there, right? So it's not going to work. So you need to make sure that can your product actually be delivered digitally and people consume it and get what they're trying to get out of it. So that's the first step. Then the next step, I guess, is how do you want to deliver it? Is it a series of videos? Is it audios? Is it a membership site? Is it a coaching style package? Or is it a webinar that you might run on a monthly basis where everyone dials in? So there's a whole range of different platforms that you can look at in order to put that together, and you just got to decide, how do I want to deliver my message?
I love it.
That's probably the main key points at the start, and then from there you can start looking at, well, then what's needed in terms of deliverability, and we can talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, no, I think that's great, because it sets up helping people. I think what happens is a lot of people just get out there, and I was just talking to a woman that helps people with media, and she goes, a lot of people just get on TV, but they don't have their platform set up, and and then they wonder why they're not successful. So it's just like what you're talking about, is getting yourself set up for success. So why don't you expand more on that, on exactly what are the moving parts that you help your clients with, and how they've been able to have success with working with you?
Sure. Okay. So a lot of the initial part of it is getting set up and getting found anyway. So you need somewhere for them to go. And usually that's a website or a membership site. And one of the things that you want to think about at the start is that, does your membership site, I mean, looking at 2015, we're expecting 75-80% of people to be accessing the internet on their cell phones or their tablets, right?
Right.
So you need to make sure that your site is set up for that influx of people, and it's already started. So you want to make sure that your website is what they call responsive, which means it can adapt to whatever device the people are looking at in the first place. So once you've got that website created, then you need to start enticing people with a free gift or something like that to get them into your list, because you want to start establishing that connection. Now remember, if you're a speaker and they've never heard you speak, then you've got to make that first impression on your website in the first place. And often that's done with either a good landing page, which we call a landing page where somebody comes along for the first time. You're offering an ethical bribe, something that might be a guide or a tip or an ebook or a blueprint for them to have a taste of what you're offering. And if they like it, then they'll want to buy some more of what you're doing down the track. So I guess the first thing is you want to get their name and address, get them into your funnel of prospects, and then you can go from there.
Perfect. Now, what are some of the best ethical offers today that you see? I mean, I know you talked about a blueprint or an ebook, but I get that question a lot. Like, what actually should I be giving away?
Yeah, the best converting bribe at the moment is software. Like it might be software that's just an Excel spreadsheet, how to calculate this and this, or how to do. It doesn't have to be complex. It can be pretty basic, but that's not up everyone's alley. So it's a little bit of a challenge if you haven't got anything that's related to software. But then going from there, usually videos, a series of videos is probably the next best one. Ebooks are a bit out of date. People are starting to say, I mean, how many ebooks do you have on your computer you haven't read yet, right? Everyone's
too many.
You're all good intentions to read an ebook, but it just doesn't happen. So ebooks are okay, but they're a little bit out of date. So people nowadays are looking for something that's really quick and consumable instantly. So a one-page blueprint or a 10-point checklist or a guide that gives them something that's not very long. They can look at it and then be done with it. But they want it there. They don't want to necessarily read a 30-page ebook that minute.
Right.
So anything that's short, sharp, and consumable quickly, and video series can always be a good one as well.
I like that. I love the blueprint idea because anybody can take, a lot of people, especially as speakers, coaches, authors, we have, a 7-step process or something that we take people through in our presentation or our webinars anyway, and just condense that down into a, infographic looking one-sheeter and make it engaging. I love that. I think that's great.
Give it to them as a what rather than the why or the how. So it's like, what is it? So give them the points, but don't tell them how to do it. And that will guarantee that, hey, I need to know how to, okay, you've given me the points, how do I do it? Well, just sign up for my new course.
Exactly. That's great. So what's the next step then? So we've got our website that's responsive, and we've got our ethical offer for people to opt in to start growing our list and creating conversions. What is the other missing piece out there that you find most people?
So one of the next pieces is you want to stay in contact with those people. So many people build a list and that's it. They forget about them and they haven't contacted that person who bought their blueprint or whatever, or got their blueprint. So you want to come up with a strategy around how many times do I need to contact them? How often do I need to do that? And initially you can do it, 5 or 6 times in the first couple of weeks. But then don't forget about them after that. So make sure you set up something that lets them know, hey, we're around, I'm still here, or I've got a new blog post out, or hey, here's a bonus tip for you. You may want to set that up inside your autoresponders so that it automatically goes out, maybe 5 or 6 weeks after they initially signed up. Because you want to keep your name at the front of their lips. So when someone says, I'd love to go and find out who speaks about this. Oh, that's right. Kris Gilbertson speaks about that, so they know exactly that your name is in the front of them of their list. So building a strategy straight after that initial contact is pretty important as well.
Yeah, I really like that, and keeping it consistent, because that is the name of the game. So let's talk about the social media now. So now that we've got our email and we're situated there, the next piece is driving traffic to our website. So talk about what are the I guess the easiest and then the best ways to set that up.
All right, cool. So social right now is it's getting more and more traction. In fact, Google are now releasing another version of their Penguin or Panda update, and it's going to roll out all over the American summer. So it's going to be pretty big, and it's all about content. How do content and SEO, social SEO. How do you get your stuff heard and seen by as many people as you can? And one of the things that we're doing right now is we're leaving an online footprint, and we're letting people know who we are. So gone are the days of those dodgy websites, those people that were hiding behind, you didn't know who they were, and you think, well, if I give them my money, will I ever see anything again?
Exactly.
Right? So people are checking you out now. And whether you like it or not, you have got a footprint out there online. People are finding out exactly who you are, what you've done. So your social sites are now extremely important to make sure that you're telling the people what information you want them to know about you. Because if you don't do that right now, then other people are going to start adding that information about you, and you don't want that.
Right.
It's especially when you've got sites like LinkedIn who are letting people endorse you for skills that you may not even have. So you got to make sure that you're telling the world what you want to be known for.
Yep.
And by putting a great profile presence in each of the platforms, the major ones, even if you don't use them too much, at least have something there. So when people come to your sites on the different social sites, they can say, oh, this is what you do, and it's all consistent. You spoke about consistency. Have that consistent brand message across all of those platforms.
Right. Now, I like that, and because people do use obviously different platforms for their style, so just have at least your profile out there. Now, what do you suggest that people should be using if they're a speaker, coach, or author for the social networks?
It depends on what their target or who their target market are. If you're looking to get booked as a speaker, I would look at LinkedIn and start looking at who are the people that would want to use me as a speaker for my expertise. So look at the LinkedIn groups that are out there. Also look at the people that are also the movers and shakers of particular businesses you want to be in front of.
Yep.
So if you're a real estate agent and you're a speaker about that sort of stuff, what are the big groups or what are the big companies out there that may want to ask me to come along and speak to those particular groups? But then also there's a lot of movement on Facebook. We've got a lot of people out there on Facebook. If you're a motivational sort of speaker, inspirational speaker, Facebook is really big for that because a lot of people like sharing that inspirational sort of stuff. So get out and find the groups that are all about the motivation and the inspiration and get in front of those people. Don't go and sell your stuff straight away though. Make sure that you're connecting with people and building a relationship with them. Give them value, always add value, and people will start to know who you are, get your name in front of them, and then they can start contacting you that way. But don't go and just start selling your wares straight away, because that is just a sure sign to get kicked out of any group you join.
Exactly. So for the time sake of social media, because I know that's a big time void for people, and they're like, it's another thing to do. What do you suggest for a strategy? Should they be tweeting like 3 times a day and then one Facebook post and one LinkedIn post, or how do you teach that?
Yeah, I say that get in and get out as quick as you can, but have a set goal in mind of what you want to do. So I use a couple of tools. I use something like a Hootsuite, hootsuite.com, which is it lets me get in. I look at all of my Twitter accounts and any other Twitter accounts that I've got connected. It connects everything together. I can look at my Facebook groups and all my pages. I can go in and answer all of those questions without getting sucked into the old bells and whistles of Facebook and all the other stuff. I can go and look at LinkedIn and see what's happening there, all from one platform, one dashboard. And I know that I've got a timer on it. So I say between this time and this time, and I usually allow myself maximum an hour. That's if I'm doing everything. But try and do it in 10-minute chunks. So I might do 10-minute chunks 5 or 6 times a day. So it's like, okay, this is my LinkedIn chunk. So I get in and do my LinkedIn, get out, and then do my normal work, and then come back and say, okay, this is my bit of my mind break. I'll go and do some Twitter stuff for 10 minutes. You don't need to have a lot of time doing it. And one of the things I will look at Facebook on Facebook when I'm sitting down on the couch just relaxing. Yep. But if I'm during the day, I don't want to touch Facebook, because I know that, like anyone, it gets down that rabbit hole, and the next thing I'm looking at some silly video of a cat singing Jingle Bells, and I'm like, what am I doing here?
Exactly. So what are your thoughts on YouTube?
Oh, I love YouTube. YouTube's about to roll out their new channel design for everybody in the next week or so. If you haven't already got it. But I still think YouTube's very, very important for a lot of things, and so does Google. Google own YouTube, so they think it's very important. So get out there and even if you don't want to be the expert in front of camera, you can always get other people to do it, or you can just record your voice talking about certain stuff. You can get slideshows and that sort of stuff done. But get out and get some videos made, and then comment and start interacting. Google are now really making YouTube, bringing it right into the social scene where people can share and comment and communicate with each other on YouTube now too. So, start using YouTube. If you haven't used it, get out there and do it.
Yeah. Well, especially since, I mean, that statistic, would you say 2015, over 75% of people are using their smartphones now? That's, I mean, I knew it was high, but I mean, that's just right around the corner. That's 3/4 of our population. Yeah. It's making it mobile friendly. So
a lot of people don't even have, like, a lot of people got rid of their desktops or their laptops, and they're surviving on their iPads and their phones these days. It's just crazy.
It is. I mean, the phone, I've become, because I'm kind of like the middle adapter. I'm not always just on the front end. But now I'm so on my phone, even though it's smaller, I've gotten used to it. Like, it's funny, I have my Kindle, but I prefer to read the book on my phone, even though it's smaller. It's like I've just trained myself, and I think a lot of other people are getting that way. So it's really, really interesting. Well, this has been awesome. I mean, this is a ton of information. Even just taking the pieces and putting that together in place can be revolutionary for people's business. So I want you to talk about what about conversion, though? Because you can get people coming to your website and signing up, but at the end of the day, it's that conversion too. So can you talk kind of on that and how to make that engaging for people?
Sure. You know, I've just finished doing a 7-part podcast series. So we do a regular podcast every week. And we've just done a 7-part series on all about conversion, shopping cart abandonments, how to open email, or how to make your email rates more openable. And there's a whole range of steps that are all involved with all of this sort of stuff. If you're looking at conversion alone, there's a couple of things you want to make sure that you've got. And if you're talking about conversion as far as a landing page goes, then you want to make sure that it's a landing page is designed to do one thing and one thing only, and that's get a sign up. So don't have too many bells and whistles on your landing page. Don't have too many navigation bars along the top so people can go, oh, what's this? What's that? Let's go and check this out. Don't have your social icons on your landing page either, because people start, oh, I'm going to check you out on Facebook. Oh, and once they're on Facebook,
they're gone.
They're looking at jingle bells and cats. So get all that sort of stuff off there. Get that stuff off there and make sure that all you want them to do is make it as obvious as you can. Sign up and give me your name and email address. That's one of the biggest things we find with clients right now, is that they've got too many things going on and people are confused about what you want them to do.
Right.
So then they've got a couple of other things, like a video. Often a video of who you are and sharing who you are can be a really good conversion increaser, because it's connecting with people. You can see, you look in their eyes, you get to know who they are, rather than hide behind a slick sales video or something like that. So a video can be a really good option as well. And the other thing is, don't have too many fields to enter in. Like some people I know, for an ebook, they're asking for everything, including your mother's maiden name and all that sort of stuff. The more fields, the less likely people are going to click on. Even if you've got, name, first name, last name, email address can be too much.
Yeah.
Often it can just be first name and email address. I've seen people now just email address, because you don't really need their first name at this stage.
Yep.
If they buy something from you later, then you can get their full details. But we're seeing people just getting some great results, just email address.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it is. We are to the point where it's just keep it as simple as possible and don't overwhelm people. Less is more, and making it easy to navigate, especially with more people, more and more companies coming online and using social media. So what are your thoughts now with text marketing, and where do you see that going?
Yeah, text marketing is growing and growing, and as we said, the mobile world is going. 2015 is going to be everywhere. Currently, right now, there's a few companies doing it pretty well. I think a lot of people are going to start taking it up even further. Some of the things you can do with text marketing these days is pretty awesome. Like, there's companies out there that will let you market a question to your audience, and depending on the answer they write back, will send them a different response. And you can even do up to, I think, 8 or 10 different backwards and forwards questions, so that it looks like someone's on the other end of the text answering your question. And they're like, wow, that's pretty cool. It's all automated. And what that does is it also builds a database around what that person likes, depending on what answers they type back into your text. So there's some pretty clever technical stuff going on right now. And I think that's only going to get smarter with tablets and all that sort of thing too. So text is awesome, especially if you're a speaker and an author. Getting out there, and one of the quickest ways now, it depends on your setup with the promoter of the event. But I've seen a lot of people do this. They'll get on stage and they'll say, "Okay, who wants my free blueprint? Text your name and your number to this thing." This is in their slides, and all these people pull their phone out and they'll text the number. Instantly, those numbers and those people's names get added to that speaker's database, and he sends them out a free report. And all of a sudden, he's taken a good size addition to his list, which is pretty cool.
That's brilliant, and they can also be opting in with their email addresses with text as well.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
That's brilliant, because then you're getting them on 2 platforms, and the ones that are opting in on their phone already are accustomed to that anyway, probably. So that's great.
I've seen them even do competitions. Say, right, the first person to text me this wins, and the system already knows who the first person is, or they pick a random one.
That's brilliant.
And he'll look at it on his phone on stage, and because he's on the dashboard side of it, it'll pick the winner and it'll say, right, where's Mary Smith? Stand up. Mary Smith's over there. She'll stand up. Right, you're the winner. You get a... So all of a sudden people are like, oh, that was pretty cool. So you do that first time and people go, oh, that's good. And you do it a second time, and then more people will opt in because they know that there's a chance to win a prize instantly.
That's brilliant. I haven't seen that yet. I really like that. That's a really good idea. Oh, that's great. So you mentioned Hootsuite as a tool to help people automate their social media. Do you have any other suggestions on tools to help automate and make your life easier?
There's a number of different tools. We also did a webinar on a whole bunch of automating tools too, especially for entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. Because there are so many things out there. We went through a whole range of different marketing ones and sales ones. Some of the marketing ones, we spoke about a lot of the autoresponder series, like your One Shopping Carts, your MailChimp, your Office Autopilot, which lets you do a lot of this stuff, takes the manual work away from there. We also spoke about things like customer service Zendesk, which lets you actually even answer customer service queries from Twitter and stuff like that. So there's a whole range of different ones out there that will help you just take away some of that time you spend doing that as a solopreneur.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest killers of any business, small business, is doing everything yourself is a real pain in the backside. So yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Those are great. And I mean, that's really, I think a lot of people are wanting to transition to, what we call nowadays the lifestyle entrepreneur, where they really can have their life back and start to automate a lot of that. So that's great for sharing a lot of that. So I want to talk, now you've got a podcast too. And so I love it. It's awesome on what you teach on. So I want you to talk a little bit about why you started a podcast and use that in your business.
Sure. So we started our podcast probably around about a year and a half ago now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, easy, a year and a half ago. And we were playing around, experimenting with what sort of results we get with traffic and that sort of stuff. And it was okay. It wasn't too bad. But what we were finding was that we weren't consistent. And I think you mentioned this earlier, that consistency is key. And consistency is the key in anything that we're talking about online, really.
Yep.
And we weren't consistent as much as we should have been. And now in the last 4 months, we've been consistently doing a podcast every week. And we do it at the same time every week.
Good.
And we record it and it goes up the same time every week. And our numbers have just grown through the roof. We're downloading in over 50 countries now, which is pretty exciting for us. We're thinking, wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yep.
So our traffic to our sites has all gone through the roof as well, and we've got opt-in pages and resources that people can look at as well. And it's pretty cool that we can have a couple of thousand people every week listening to our podcast. And we're getting comments coming in, we're getting feedback, and it's just awesome. And you know what it's like when people start saying, hey, I've been listening to your podcast while I'm driving from somewhere in India to somewhere else. You're like, really?
Yeah.
Wow. How did you find me? What's going on there?
Yeah. No.
In fact, I tell you, we're about to launch a new banner image on our iTunes podcast. And we had a listener write in and said, hey, we love listening to you. We went and checked out some stuff, and we noticed a couple of things. We do some graphic design just because we do it. We'd love to redo your podcast banner for free. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine. But if you want to do it, we'd love to do it. And we're like, yeah, for sure. So now we've got listeners who are designing our stuff for us, and we think that's pretty cool.
That's brilliant. I love it. That's why I always ask people that have podcasts what their success has been and what happens with it, because especially with the phone, people shifting to the phone now too, they want audio on the go, like when they're driving in their car. But you're right, it is consistent, especially with podcasts. You have to keep it consistent out there. So that's brilliant. I'm so excited. So definitely check out the
Autopilot Your Business. Just do a search for that on iTunes, and you'll see it pop up there.
Yep.
It's currently the one with the red plane, but it could be one with me in a really exciting leather jacket.
I love your guys' intro too. How you did that. It's awesome. But I'll have all the details in the show notes as well to make it easier for everybody. So that's great. Okay, excellent. So what do you see as some of the trends going forward in what's shifting in the online marketing space?
Big trend right now is the social content, getting content, fresh, relevant content out there. So whatever it is that you're doing, make sure you're delivering content that's good. Don't go and buy rubbishy PLR or private label rights. Don't go and get some person that's not very good at writing to go and write articles. Make sure you got good quality content, and the content's relevant to what you're talking about, and it's unique. Right. I'm finding that article directory sites are not as effective as they used to be anymore. But go and repurpose your stuff too. So don't be afraid of doing a video, getting ripping the audio off it. And it may sound technical, but it's not really. Grabbing the audio and using that as a podcast or something like that you can use for your listeners, and getting it transcribed and breaking that up into blog posts and putting it out there on other people's article directory sites if you want to use it, but mainly on your blog site as well. And then sharing all that sort of stuff through all the social excuse me, I got a frog in my throat.
Are you okay over there?
Share that with the with all your social sites as well. So there's 6 main social sites you want to look at: Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and G+. Just jump on each one of those every day and send out your latest blog post or your podcast or your video. Get out there and share that. But content is the biggest one that's happening right now, and Google are hell-bent on making sure that the internet is full of good stuff rather than rubbish that it has been in the last couple of years.
Yeah, they're really on a cleanup. So that's so exciting for those of us that have great content that have been putting it out there, because we are moving truly into the content age. I just saw an article from a Fortune, I think it was a Fortune 500 company that was talking about content marketing, and we've never heard that before in those type of companies. So it is moving towards that. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, we could see it coming late last year. We moved everything towards, we did a lot of SEO sort of stuff with backlinking and all that sort of stuff. It's not working as well as it used to be, and it's going to work even less. Yep. So getting out there and putting your content out is just going to ensure that you're the industry leader ahead of other people. Yep,
exactly. So is there anything specific that you see with strategies to stay ranked with Google besides just putting good content out and having it posted out on the social networks? Are there any other techniques?
No, not so much. Not like there used to be a whole range of different techniques. But using the different big boy platforms like iTunes for your podcast, if you can get, and these days it's so much easier to write a book or a Kindle book. Putting your content out on Kindle and Amazon is also so much more easier to do than it ever was 5 years ago. I mean, we wrote a book last year in November, and it was about how to become a motivational speaker using online techniques. And we got it to number one Amazon bestseller, which was good, but it was never a goal of mine. And a lot of people have a lifelong ambition to write a book. We did it in a weekend.
Yep.
And it wasn't exciting, but people still see authors of books something to aspire to. So if you can learn how to write a book pretty quickly, and it's really not that hard once you know what to do, put your content out on Kindle as well. Get on Amazon platforms, get on iTunes, get on those big platforms where they are content curators. Get your information out there.
Exactly. And people are, there's millions. In iTunes, there's over 500 million active buyers that are in there already. I think Amazon is a couple 100 million as well. So, it's like you're JVing with one of the biggest brands out there. So I love it. I think it's fantastic. And it's all the mobile platform where everybody makes it easy for you. Whether you don't have your website quite set up, you can at least still be mobile ready. So I love it. So I want to talk about, so what are some of the like biggest mistakes you see your clients making that you've helped them shift to have success now?
Yeah, first one usually by far is trying to do it all themselves and trying to learn it. And we've had clients where we've come through and we've done an education process, and because they've got a little bit of education, sometimes that's a dangerous thing, and they'll run away and say, oh no, we can do it ourselves. Okay, then off you go, because we hadn't finished telling you the main bits. It's like saying, I'm going to go and sail your boat. Okay, we forgot to put the bottom of the boat on.
Right.
And they get out and sink, and they're like, what's going on here? Yep. So one of the things is get educated, but get educated as much as you can, but use people that know what's going on to do it first. And we just find that one of the biggest roadblocks is trying to not get overwhelmed with so much information that's out there. And that's part of the problem getting educated is pick one or two people that know what's going on and stick to them. Don't try and get too many opinions on stuff. Otherwise, you'll have different points of view from different people, and often they'll be conflicting because one person will think this is the right way, someone else will think this is the right way, and you'll start trying to work out how does these two match, and they don't. They'll never meet, and you'll sit there and in the end of the day you won't do anything because you're overwhelmed, and a confused mind never does anything really.
Yeah, that's the best advice I think I wish I had heard in the beginning, because it really is. And even though it sounds so simple, it is the most important part. Like today, I only have like 2 main lists that I follow, and then I've got an email account that has everybody else, and I have my shiny penny hour once a week where I just go in and kind of check it out, but I don't buy anything. Great. Because
that's a really good habit too, because I'm the same. I think I'm down to 2, maybe 3 people that I follow in internet marketing space. The rest, they're all has-beens and people that I used to follow, and I just look at them and go, why did I waste my time? But I didn't know that back then. But now I know that I'm looking at 2 or 3 people that give me the information I need, and that's as much as I need now. So it's one of those things you've just got to learn. Sometimes you got to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to listen to advice, go and get yourself 2 or 3 people and follow them only.
I love that. If you're willing to listen, it's so true. It really is. Yeah, it's great. So, do you have any other tips or any other advice that you can share?
Oh, lots of tips. In fact, I'd love to give away some stuff about landing pages. So we talked about landing pages earlier.
Yeah.
And we did a whole series of landing page, I think it was a 10-part series about what to look for in a landing page, because landing page is one of the biggest things that you want to start building your list with. And many people get that wrong. So we did a series of that sort of stuff too. So if listeners want to go and grab a copy of that, then I'd love to give them the landing page autopilot overview, which is just a little series. It won't cost them anything to do. So landingpageautopilot.com is where you can go and get that info.
Perfect. Excellent. I'm going to go check that out too. I love that. Because it really is. I mean, a lot of people say website, but really today you need to have a funnel. And so all Andrew's talking about is having a simple one-page website that has, want to expand on it? Really simple?
It's a simple one-page website that basically gives an offer for somebody to in exchange for your email address and sometimes your name. And what that does is it gets them into your list. And as you said, funnel, a lot of our biggest work right now is all about funnel and strategy. How do you create a funnel? And let me just give you a quick overview of what a funnel looks like. Often a funnel at the bottom, you're trying to get as many people, at the top, coming into your list. So you'll give away a freebie that doesn't cost, it's low entry, low barrier. They'll come in and then you might upsell them on a $10 ebook or something like that. Then you might, once they've bought that, you may want to sell them into a $100 video series, and it may go on to something like a $400 membership site access or something similar, that sort of thing. And then you go down to the lower end of the funnel where not everyone's buying, but people are dropping off. But you're starting to find that your real best customers are starting to now look at your $1,000, $2,000 price point. It may be a private one-on-one mentoring session. It may be a course that you run for 5 days about how to do whatever it is that you're good at. So that's what a funnel is. It's getting people into as many people as you can in the top end, and by process of elimination, they're buying certain stuff and they're going down and at the end of the day, you've got your core people that are buying your largest ticket items, and that's what a funnel is. And how do you manage that? How do you structure it and massage it so that people are buying as much of your products as they can? And once you've got some good buyers in your list, you'll find that they'll buy nearly everything you do.
Right, right. And that's what you're brilliant at. So I love that. That's what you guys do. And you help entrepreneurs all day long craft. So if anybody has any questions on that, definitely connect with Andrew and his team, because they can help you. Because I think the next question then, the logical question is, well, what should be in my funnel? So it's like getting that set up. And that really is important to set up for your personality and the type of business you want to create and lifestyle you want to have around that. So I think that's brilliant. So the last question that I have for us here, it's the $1 million question. And I love this because I think as entrepreneurs, like you said, a lot of people get overwhelmed and they see all these top people and they feel like they can't get to that level because they're already so big. So it's the 5-minute makeover. If you had to start all over from scratch today with no resources and without any of the contacts, no network, what would you do and how would you rebuild your empire?
That's a great question. I think I would. Did you say I've got the knowledge or not?
You've got the knowledge, just no network and no resources.
Okay. So first thing, I'd build a landing page. I'd build a landing page and offer something that I knew that would be relevant to them. So what is the biggest pain in my marketplace? What is the thing that I could fix the quickest? Because you want to obviously sell to a hungry crowd. You want to sell to a group of people that have the most pain and you have the solution to. So I would develop whatever it was that was needed to solve that pain. And then I'd build a landing page, and then I'd go and find out, where do those people all hang out? Because people with pain all hang out together, right? Yeah. So is it a Facebook group? Is it a LinkedIn group? Is it a forum that they might all hang out and whinge and moan about about the same pain that they're all going through, So find out where they are and then start to offer advice. I wouldn't sell what I've got there, but just start to offer advice so that people start to realize that I know what the pain is and I've also got a solution to that pain. Once I start doing that, I direct them to my landing page that I would have there to collect their name and address, and then start to structure a funnel around that. What a lot of people get confused is they try and complete everything before they tell anybody about it. So they want to go and build a landing page. They want to write 30 modules of a course that goes for a year. They want to have all that up and running, because what if someone buys it tomorrow?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if someone buys it tomorrow, all you have to be is a day ahead, be a day ahead of what they're about to learn, and then you're okay. You don't have to have that entire year's worth of stuff done.
Yep.
Think about that. I mean, there's nothing better than putting pressure on yourself once you've got someone who's bought your course. So go and get them in, and as soon as they buy it, then you've got some pressure going on.
Yeah.
And often people will get it done quicker that way as well.
Well, it's a great point, because it really does. I mean, I see a lot of, and I've suffered at this in the beginning, is like, oh, I have to have it all figured out, and you just really have to be one step ahead, and it makes it easier for you to actually get out there and start marketing, to even know if the market wants what you're creating.
That's a brilliant point too, because so many people will create things what they think the market wants, but if the market doesn't want it and you've gone and created a year's worth of modules for someone to learn something that no one wants, you've wasted your time.
Yeah.
So I think people talk about the minimum viable product. Go and find out what is the least amount of work you can do, and if people are buying it and taking it, then go and expand on it.
Yep. Brilliant. And what do you think is the length of course time that you found that has been successful? Because I don't see as many year-long module programs anymore.
Not really. I think 3 months is pretty much the max these days.
Yep.
A 12-week course is pretty standard. Maybe a 6-week course can work pretty well as well.
Yep.
But just have something to upsell them or give them after they finish that, because once they finish, there are people that have bought money and spent money with you, so bought your course and spent money with you. Make sure you've got something else to offer. Is there a second version you can do? Is there an advanced version? That sort of thing.
Yep, exact. I love that. I love it. Just add on to what you already have, because people will keep buying from you. I mean, it's...
and you can even repurpose some of the stuff you've already taught them in a different fashion.
Yep.
So if you've taught them through a video series, then you might want to say, hey, come and do the live seminar. And I know so many live seminars that are just rehashing what they learned on the video series.
Yep.
Although people are getting something different because it's a different environment. You don't have to go and relearn anything else to teach them. It's just giving it to them in a different format. And so many people are doing that, and the customers are happy with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea though, because you don't have to relearn anything. You don't have to set up anything else. It's just repurpose. Right. And people like live events. They go there I go to live events just to network half the time. Exactly. I don't even expect the content to be that good sometimes. So it just depends on where you're at.
Very true. It's sad that's the case, but it's true. It's like get out there and do an event and get people to come along, even if they don't spend any time in your room. As long as they paid you a ticket price, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I suggest put good content out there, but people are in the mindset of networking because that's where the real connections happen. So this has been absolutely brilliant. Do you have any other last minute takeaways for our listeners?
You know what? Just start. Version 1 is better than version none. Get out there and do something. You've heard that before. But it's so true. So many people get railroaded at the very first hurdle. They stop and they go, oh, it's all too hard. If it's too hard, go and find someone who can do it. Go and look for an outsourcing person that can go and say, well, I know how to do this. Don't let your lack of knowledge stop you. Make sure that you find someone who can do that for you and get over it. Because otherwise, you're going to sit there and be having the best idea in your head forever.
Yep.
And there's nothing worse than thinking about an idea that's been in your head for 5 years and not doing anything with it.
Oh, that's the worst. I think that's the most painful state to be in versus being in a state where you don't know something. I think it's just more painful because you could have something brilliant. So I love it. Well, Andrew, this is phenomenal. Now, where can everybody go find out about you?
You go autopilotyourbusiness.com. You can find me there. Or all my social stuff, AYB for Autopilot Your Business, aybsocial.com has all my social links there. So you can find me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, G+, so on and so on and so on. And any other news platform that comes out this week.
Exact. Andrew is everywhere. So just whatever platform you choose that you have fun on. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining. This was a pleasure and blast to have you here.
Chris, thank you. It was great. I loved being on the show, and I hope lots of people got some good stuff out of today's call.
Absolutely. I know I did, for sure. So thanks again.
Thanks, Chris.
And I hope you enjoyed that episode. I'd love to get your feedback here for the Lifestylepreneur podcast right in iTunes. Simply leave us a 5-star and a review letting us know what you like, who you're interested in hearing more from, and what topics you really want help with in your business that I can bring on those key experts to really fine tune and help you in your business and creating the lifestyle of your dreams. And I'll be giving shout outs, so make sure you put your name and your website address if you want me to share that with the community as well. And again, thanks for listening. I'm so excited that you found the Lifestylepreneur podcast, and I can't wait to connect with you and learn more about your business as we continue to grow this community. So again, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Lifestylepreneur podcast. Again, I'm Kris Gilbertson, and I'm committed to bringing you top training from leading lifestylepreneurs all over the world to help you break through and turn your dreams into your ideal lifestyle. And make sure to join us at www.lifestyleacademy.com to receive VIP training from specific guests I interview on the show so that you can really easily start to implement what you've learned from listening. I know we're all busy, and sometimes we don't have time to listen to the entire podcast or take notes because I'm always listening on the go. So I like to call it the Lifestyle Cliff Notes to creating your ideal business and make it really simple for you. So those will be sent via the email list. Plus, I also want to connect with you personally, and being on the Lifestyle Academy mailing list is where all the magic happens. We'll host VIP trainings once a month that we can't always bring out on the podcast with even more detailed information. And I also want to connect with you personally. I want to know what's going on in your business and what you need help with and who I can bring on to aid you in creating your ideal lifestyle. And so I'll be asking questions every once in a while that I want you to reply, and I reply back to you personally. So again, until next time, wishing you on your way to achieving all of your dreams. Talk to you soon.